Producer Corinne LaPook. Executive producer Solome Williams. Composer Christenson. And film subject Yeshi Kassa.
I've never seen it this big. Please step forward so there can be no light.
Wow, right? Such a beautiful job, all of you. It was so heartfelt and important and suspenseful and moving. It really was a beautiful film. You two have worked together before on a very different film, Being Elmo. How did you come together again to make this story?
Connie and I were in film class together in 8th grade, in junior high, and my father was her dentist, and we've known each other a long time. And when she was making Elmo, she called me and asked me if I wanted to work with her, and I did. We have a lot of fun. Corinne puts up with a lot, but Corinne is so detail-oriented and has, at the same time, a great sense for the big picture. It's a real gift, and I think we complement each other really well. We're looking forward to the next
I think so. So Yeshi, you were fantastic and just so great. How did you navigate all the emotional turmoil and just the vulnerability of putting your story on the screen?
I think initially I really struggled with it. I was brought up in England, and as you can see with my mom, we're not really taught to show emotion and be careful. But doing the film and speaking to so many people that have been impacted by what happened in Ethiopia, and then really talking to my mom about it, I think gave me the opportunity to accept all of the emotions that came with it, the good emotions and also the bad emotions of learning things that I didn't really want to learn about. So I think that was definitely a journey that was different at the beginning of the film and at the end.
How long were you all shooting?
A lifetime.
The first shoot was in the spring of 2015. So we've been at it a while.
Children went through college, people got married.
And Solomon, how did you come to be involved with this project?
Another kismet moment, I guess, because Corinne's nephew is a manager, and he said, you know, you have Ethiopian eyes, I'm going to assume that you're Ethiopian, and showed me the documentary, and Cynthia and I looked at it, and it was incredible, it was amazing. For me, I was, you know, born in the aftermath of the Derg regime, so I felt kind of the ghosts of what were in Yeshi's film, and when we watched it, we said, it's an incredibly cinematic story, but it's also, you know, born of kings and queens and a representation also of the diaspora that we hadn't seen before, and you learn something, but at the same time, it's just incredibly emotional, and we wanted it to be, you know, one of the first films that we as a company, that Cynthia and I, his daughter, wanted to be a part of.
So this story obviously was amazing, but the filmmaking was phenomenal, and a big part of it was the music that Forrest did. Forrest Christenson, he's worked on Oscar-nominated films or winning films, Dunkirk and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Yeah, I thought you'd be older. But you did a really beautiful job of, you know, capturing the emotion without overdoing it and just letting us feel. It was really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Well, that's all because I've been working with Rupert Gregson-Williams, who also composed music for several years. So we've been working together on all of his movies that come through. And this was a really great experience to like work with him. We went, and this movie was so emotional that it was just a joy to write music for it because of how emotional music can be. So the story just lent itself to music perfectly.
Thank you. So the story, as we all experience, is full of, twists and turns and intrigue, and, I do a lot of these Q&As, and people they leave to use the restroom. Nobody left. I don't know if it's because I don't think it's because everybody has a good bladder. I think nobody wanted to miss anything. Well, we'll tell the story. What were you most surprised to learn, all of you, during the making? I know, yes, you had a whole lot of things to learn, but even you, Corinne, and what were you surprised to learn?
I think watching the family come to terms with this story, not only in terms of being willing to talk about it, to share it with the world, but amongst themselves for the first time. And Yeshi is a very brave soul, and I think watching that up close was a real gift, and it changed me. I know that's for sure. I owe her a lot. So, Corinne?
Well, I think getting to know Yeshi's mother and family was just an amazing, amazing experience. And we're just so fortunate to have known them, and especially Princess Ella, who's just a remarkable person.
No, I mean, I think for me, it was the experience of coming home in a lot of ways. I think, what was incredible was the stories that we think we know versus what really happened and the unknown histories. It's just, kind of scratching the surface.
Well, if I may, the ambiguity of this film and in the story and the ambiguity of the legacy was very interesting to Rupert and I. We had a lot of conversations about this and how do we capture this in music. So that was something we really tried to find that pinpoint spot, and that was one of the main challenges that we came across.
There's just one thing, we're really very fortunate to have members of the family here. If the family members can stand up, we would just like to acknowledge you. Solome, Mariam, who is part of the representative of the Roja Band, is here with us. Jacqueline Lee, our devoted assistant editor and post-production supervisor, Jacqueline. Evan Anthony, our beautiful post-production editor, right here, saved us. And Solomon Hibrier, who we really know.
So how much of your grandfather's history has been taught in Ethiopia,
I think increasingly they're beginning to teach it with the regime that came in 1991. But during the Derg's time, none of it was taught at all. And one of the big drivers for me to do this film was literally because they never talked about what they did to my grandmother and my great aunts. And I think Princess Joshua, how old was she when she went to prison? She was in her 70s. So it was just this hidden thing that they never wanted to acknowledge. And then when we talked to people about who decided to kill the 60, nobody would say, well, I was part of the people who voted, and yet we knew there was a whole room who were there. So, it was a huge learning curve for me to find out the impact that Derek had on Ethiopia. I just knew kind of like my family. And then I was shocked when I moved to Ethiopia and learned what they had done and how little of it was being discussed. Now I think there's definitely more education and more interest in just general Ethiopian history. During the Derg, they just literally just tried to wipe out all the old emperors, and including Grandpa, and now that they're definitely being told more. But never enough, so.
One of the things that was a challenge was the lack of photos of the family, and because during the revolution, I guess they tried to destroy all photographic evidence of the family. So that was a challenge for us. But people send Yeshi's family pictures, and we were able to find things, so that was helpful.
Yeah, and hopefully more will come out once this film gets out.
Absolutely. Also, Bob Eisenhart, our intrepid, really brilliant editor, is up for a big award tonight for his editing work on the rescues. And he couldn't be here tonight, but we owe him the world. So I just want to acknowledge that. Editors do not get enough due, period.
Well, you guys, did such a great job, of reminding people that behind all that political intrigue and all the stuff we see in the news and we, flip through and turn the channel, that they're real families and people's parents and their lives are impacted by this stuff for generations. That's an important thing to remember. I'd like to open it up to the floor. Questions? I'll repeat the question. So go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, first of all, it's a fabulous film. And it's very hard to take something that happened historically and weave it with powerful personal stories like this. And I think you really made a document of history. I'm somewhat familiar with the history of Ethiopia, not really, and I think, obviously, I hope it gets wide reveal both there and here. I have a question for Connie. The best documentaries, which I think this is among, they reveal themselves as they go forward. We didn't know where this was going. We didn't know the story of the family in Yeshi, and it was beautiful the way unexpected meetings happened, encounters. Bob Marley came in, the sisters, the visits, and as a filmmaker, I can't imagine you knew what would be revealed when you started. So can you talk a little about that, what you thought you were getting yourself into, and then how you went on the same journey as the viewers, basically, and how that was for you?
So the question is about what you thought you were going to, kind of film you thought you were going to make, what kind of journey you thought you'd be on, versus what it turned into.
I had no idea.
Is this the workout?
I had no idea what was ahead. I just knew that Yeshi was somebody I wanted to hang out with for a bunch of years. I knew that the history was rich. I knew that the elements were there for us to have an opportunity to help the family tell their story. And that it was a big story, but I also, the one thing I did know, and I said to Yeshi at the beginning, was we have to get into this through you. We have to get into this story in a very personal way. And that didn't go over so well. I gave her a DVD of My Architect. I said something like this, and it worked. So, Neil, I didn't know what to expect, but it was so much bigger and more complicated than I could have ever imagined.
It looks so predictable or sort of neat and tidy when you see it in the end, but I can imagine it was so unwieldy because of the way things, like I said, revealed themselves to you as you were making the film.
Yeah, Neil was saying it seemed neat and tidy. I think that, we look to the editing team for that, because when it looks like that and it looks like, it all makes sense, it's because a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it. But, Yesh and I took a trip to The Hague because one of the Derg was being tried and shot. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that we shot that never made it in. But you just go out and cast a wide net and then pray you have a great editor. Here he is again.
Make a part 2.
We have time for one more short question, please. Short.
At the back?
Congratulations, fabulous film. Will this have a chance of being shown in Ethiopia? And what do you think could kind of open? And how will it be received?
The question is there a chance that this will be shown in Ethiopia, and how will it be received? I think it'll be shown in Ethiopia, maybe not this week. But yes, I'm going to put this, I'm going to ask you to address if you think, both of you, if you think it will be shown there and how it will be received, how it might be received.
Whether it will be shown there is, I can't answer, but judging from the feedback that we've had, I think it will be well received. I think people are just eager to hear different aspects of that time. And it is the first time that our family has spoken about anything like this. So in as much as people are interested in that, I think it will be well received. And I always said, we hope people were upset that they couldn't see it being streamed in Ethiopia and things right now. So we've always said, ideally, we'd like to go there and put it on. So I think it will happen.
I mean, I would have to agree, and I think just kind of given the global nature of it, given the things that are happening in Ethiopia right now, there's something that Yeshi says in the film, there's no reconciliation without truth, and that's just such a universal message, but when we see what's happening in Ethiopia and a lot of the kind of repetitive behaviors, it's a hope that we can take this from that.
And we just have a few special acknowledgements.
So amazing and just patient, learning our history. Sometimes you knew more about our history than we did. And you found pictures and memories that we buried along the way. So we couldn't be more thankful to you. And I feel like this is a movie that 20, 30 years from now people will remember and look at because it tells a part of Ethiopian history that was never told. So thank you. And the music is absolutely fantastic. And Solome, thank you for jumping in because I think every Ethiopian needs to know this side of Ethiopian history, so thank you.